Hello, my friends, and welcome to Fishtory. I hope we're doing well today. I see lots of friendly faces in the chat, so come on in, make yourselves at home, and let's have ourselves a good old time. How are we doing? Let's do some lip service. I'm gonna have my lip service. Oh boy, maybe I should just keep that thought to myself. Hey Jacob, what's going on? Roy, how goes it? Dagmar, good to see you. South Bay Sapphires, love it. Also, we've got who else hiding in here? Great White, great band, great creature, great color, I guess, or lack of color, maybe all the colors at once. Depends on if it's reductive or subductive or addition or additive light. Emily, hello. Also to you. Also, Azuravian too. Good to see you. Love to see you here. And also Coro, welcome back as a member. Thank you for joining the cult. I appreciate it. I'm glad you paid your dues. You can sacrifice your Tetra on the third Tuesday of any month. And I'm sure you still have your robes and sacraments and all that. So you can just do that on your own. I don't need to see the footage this time. But thank you and welcome back, my friend. Thank you, though, for the support, buddy. Also, Ollie the Pufferfish, what's going on? Good to see you. Who else is in here? Oh, well, I'm in here. Yeah, that's true. I'm in here. Says I'm in here. Says I says things. Donnie Wolf, hello. Johnny Bess, hello. Steve Rodriguez, Robert Bennett, Mike, what's going on, everybody? Every day I'm reading off names. It's good to see all y'all flooding in. Judge Dread Aquatics, good to see you, man. All right, so you know, I have no hard and fast. This mic seems a little a little harsh today. I have no hard and fast agenda today that I like need us to stick to. So, Coro, how much are guppies worth on that altar? Nothing. Guppies aren't worth anything on the altar of Fishtory. They are live bearers. They just like make themselves automatically. You have to have the egg scatterer very clearly. Just had to watch your Turkana Jewel video. Might be getting some. Love, Renzo. Love to see that. They are a great fish. The jewel fish, specifically the Turkana ones, are really fun, really beautiful. They're probably the deepest red and most colorful, like dark, deep, lovely red. They're very aggressive when they are ready to nest and to have their babies, but they are super fun to watch. And if you do a species only tank, they're really great. If you have a community tank, you may need to do a little bit of corralling just because of how aggressive they can be. That, and for me, I couldn't get them to stop having babies. I actually got rid of mine because they had so many babies that I couldn't give away any more babies. And even the amount of babies they had, they wouldn't eat their own. Like, they eat some of their own babies if you leave a dense population in, say, a 40 breeder or in a 20 long or something. They'll start eating their own fry to some degree. But even then, I couldn't keep up with them. So just out of realizing that I was ill-equipped to ever stop the deluge of those beautiful little fish, I just stopped keeping them and gave them away to someone else who had a community tank where they wouldn't spawn, where they could live happily, though, with some lake Kivu fish, which there's like 9 cichlids out of Lake Kivu that's right next to the Lake Victoria Basin, and then right near really Tanganyika too. It's kind of like to the west, and it's kind of like one of the floodplains, the swamps. I think it's Okavango drainage maybe rather than rift. But anyways, it's an interesting one. Fishtory, have you done a Goodiad highlight video? I just recently got a blue-tailed Goodiad, and loving the color. Yeah, they are a great fish. You know, I've talked about them somewhat. I've done an entire video going down to Mexico to try to find the Ameca splendens and the tequila Goodiad, split fin butterfly Goodiads. And that video, I mean, it's a half hour of, there's lots of beautiful wildlife. There's a lot of sad pollution. And I could not find any in the wild. Even when I asked the local university and a professor to kind of show me around, it was the dry season. And so I thought that would be perhaps a better time. And I actually went down there, and we actually had to even go past checkpoints that were not under the government's control, which was very, that's the first time in my life that I think I've been in a situation like that, where we went to these guys that had the road blocked off, and we literally had to like show them our passports and everything, even though they're not anything official, and tell them what we were up to. And, you know, they weren't pointing anything at us, but they were armed, and they had these stencils on their police vehicles, which were just civilian vehicles, but they have the El Chapo and El Mayo artwork, almost like that Obama Hope ferry course, isn't that, or not ferry course, Shepherd Ferry, the artist that did that style of print. Well, they have like a spoof of that down there for the narco guys. Really kind of unnerving, but also like we knew that, you know, that if we were going to run into trouble, it was going to be them. And that was the people that, like, literally they were like, where are you staying? And when we told them, they're like, okay, yeah, no, we're happy to have you as guests. So it's clear that they're getting a cut of like everything that goes on in the town. But some of those little towns we were in the Jalisco province, it was very difficult to film while driving and stuff. I was told, like, by the drivers, like, don't. So kind of an interesting video. There's a lot of me filming on the touristy areas on the beach and stuff. But there's like iguana footage and stuff. Not a whole lot on the Goodeids, to be real frank, but you might find the video a little bit interesting. People are literally camped out and living in the riverbed right where the Ameca River comes out into, like, you know, one of the several tendrils it has that come out as a river delta. It there's like burnt out cars and people with tarps and people with like kindling and fire each morning cooking up whatever they could catch, from iguana to turtle to, you know, whatever. It's kind of the poverty and stuff it makes you think twice about like complaining about the fact that they're endangered or that they've gone extinct in the wild and stuff. And then you realize, like, some of these people are not in a much better position than, you know, these fish that we worry about. Anyways, kind of interesting. So how are we doing here, folks? Let's see what else we got going on in the comments. Your tanks seem to have come back strong since they crashed a while ago. So yeah, I had the tanks that I've had, the tanks that I've had, they do come back very strong every time I have any trouble with the tanks. The nature of, like, now this picture behind me right now is not a live shot. Obviously, that fish is not moving, but I can, the thumbnail from today, that is a live shot, and I can show you right here. Let's see if it'll let me. Come on. Oh, it knows me, but is it gonna ever show you? No. I think you guys probably saw the thumbnail if you came in, but wow, that's bizarre. It's not showing it. But the tank, yes, is even more lush and colorful than what you're seeing there. I guess, I mean, we can go walk over there in a moment. But I wanted to do a couple things at the computer first before we do that. But yeah, the tanks are doing well. I had to scale down. A lot of you know, I'm not going to go into all the details, but tomorrow I'm getting my ankle rebroken again, and they're resetting the bones, and they're putting them into a cast that basically holds my foot off the ground and in a very, very specific position with a pin in it. so that hopefully it can heal properly. My heel can heal properly. I will also still have the puncture wound hole in my heel that is now 2 inches across, or about 6 centimeters, 6 to 7 centimeters across, and it's a hole that's also a centimeter deep in the callus and fat pad of my foot. And it goes down to the talus bone, basically, because of the infection issue I've had over and over. And so it's just been this never-ending trauma. But I'm hoping I think we have a good team. I switched up my medical team, and that's all I'll say about it. That I'm excited, even though tomorrow they're going to break my ankle, and I'm going to be awake. I'm going to be in a twilight state. Hopefully I'll be able to walk in a boot on it rather than be in a wheelchair this time. I've been in a wheelchair twice now in the last year. I just want to get back into the water. I want to be able to keep my all my Oddball Aquatics. Good to see you. Good to see you. Stopping in to see the tanks. Love all the out of water growth. Well, let's go. Okay, while I'm yammering on, let's fire up the other camera, and we'll go take a look at the other tanks real quick. Well, really, there's 2 that are of note that I want to show you. These 2, and then there's tanks in the other room that have plants and all, but they're more just breeding tanks and kind of holding tanks. They're holding cells for the prisoners that are my fishies. But yeah. So let's see here. There is let's pull that up. Also, external filter, Oddball Aquatics. Also, I always like what you've got going on too. Just wanted to let you know that. Let's see here. Bambi, hello, good to see you. Fish Dad, good to see you. Renzo, good to see you. Anyone here have a black ghost knife fish? How fast they grow? I don't have one, but I know that within about a year or 2, they'll kind of grow most of their growth, and then from there they kind of fill out a little bit, but they don't get massive usually. There are a lot of different knife fish types though, and there's like a centipede knife fish, there's a ghost knife, there's a giant ghost knife, there's a striped, a spotted. So do make sure if it's just the most common one, you're good to go. But just like the video I posted today, you could pull up the Latin name, and if make sure you got the Latin name, the common name, that they all line up well. Can you recommend, and this is by Scoop Dog, hello, welcome. Can you recommend a good external filter for a 5-foot by 24, not expensive until I get a better, expensive until I get better one later, wanted to run 2 extensions on it. Okay, good external filter for a 5-foot by 24 inch, I'm guessing. So are you saying on a tank that's a 5-foot by a 2-foot? So what that's like a 90 or so, give or take, 110, 120, 90 gallon tank or more. It might be more with the 2 feet. It depends on how deep it is. Anyways, I think the best external filters for me are going to be, canister filters are best if you just want a plug and play. Building a sump can be a great way to do it also, because then you can put all sorts of plants, even algae for that matter, you can have, or duckweed or whatever, contained down below, and it can be kind of separate from everything, and it can process a lot of nitrates and nitrites, especially if you have immersed growth. Now, if you're not wanting to do all that rigmarole, then I would say you're going to be more in the range of either you could do sponge filters for the most inexpensive. You could just do like 4 big sponge filters and stack them on top of each other, the largest kind, and get a good, air, like a Whisper Light 150 or something like that to run each stack, and you would pull plenty of water through there. But I would recommend, a canister filter, investing in the flue well for, 4x or 5x, 6, any of the flue balls. Decide how much flow you need, how much you want to turn over the water in your tank, depending on species, depending on plants, depending on how many water changes you want to do a week. If you want it to be a low light, low energy, slower tank, then you don't need to worry so much. You could have something, as low powered as like a Fluval 207 or something, that I run my 60, that I run this tank right, where is it? This tank right here off of, just to keep things moving. I mean, you could even just use air stones when you've got a well-planted and established tank. So if it's brand new, obviously you want to have that backup filtration. You want to have all that surface area. You want to have the different types of textures. So the different biomedia, whether that's the ceramic beads or that's stone, and then rock, and then sponge, and then coarse sponge, and then filter floss. Like however you want to do it, you want a degree and a range of diverse different textures and things. And you can spend a lot of money going brand name and things like that, but there's also a lot of just off the internet cheap, you can buy them off from India or China or Bangladesh, very inexpensive, $50 to $100 knockoffs. You can also go into kind of the middle of the road like CanSun or SunSun or some of those brands. And a lot of people swear by those. Then you can go to like Oase, Fluval, and kind of the mainstream stuff, which you're going to pay a little bit more for, but the parts are going to be around. You have a guarantee that size and that, everything's going to work. And there's customer support. There's a guarantee of some degree. So for me, I like it, and I think it's worth going with like a Fluval and paying the money, even if it's $200-300 or whatever. Definitely, I do wait for sales if I can help it. Beyond that, long term, I think building a sump and having it customized out the way you want it is like by far the best option if you're into that thing. If you're into that kind of thing. So I hope that helps. All right, let's see here. I've got rope fish, Biochars, but I do not have a gold on it. Oh, you got to go to bed. Well, have a good night, Oddball Aquatics. Good to see you. Before we hop over and look at the aquarium, while we're sitting here, I wanted to see if Aquatic Arts still has their oddball fish. They've had some unusual fish over there that they haven't really sold. Some Malawi cichlids and some African fish that normally you just wouldn't see in the hobby. This is like stuff that maybe like the Wet Spot or Cichlid Exchange would bring in, or maybe Imperial Tropicals could bring in something like this. But to be frank, maybe Dan's Fish would bring it in. They are now trying to get rid of this stuff though. So I want to pull up right now the Aquatic Arts. As y'all know, I have an Aquatic Arts affiliated link. So if you use the code Fishtory, FISHTORY 15, all caps, no spaces, you can get yourself 15% off plus the sale price. And so that's what I wanted to show you guys, some of the stuff. Like, I just want to see what they still have up there in real time while we're sitting here at the computer. Then we'll go look at the tank. We'll answer more questions, and we will chat a little bit more. And I will even sing you a little ditty. I'll sing you a little ditty. But let's see here if we can get share screen. Pop that up. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, here we go. So Aquatic Arts, they're doing a few interesting new things. They're doing the galleries of new betas, which is pretty cool, where you can go in and you can do the what you see is what you get beta collection kind of thing. Let me copy this. Copy. Making copies. Paste. All right, let's see. Did that pop over? Did that pop it like it's hot? Pop it like it's hot. Okay. So this is what you see, what you get. They're getting in some betas. They've got some really interesting betas in there. Everything from, like Hellboy to Cello to mustard gas, like just all sorts. And you can select, like literally look at the fish and look, sold, 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 not sold, not sold. Like there's a beautiful fish. And these are in their color change right now. Here's a mustard gas half moon male. He's got just a trace of it. So anyways, when you go into this gallery mode, there's actually several galleries and they restock it. But I just think that this is a kind of a cool way to do the betas. If we go to fish and we go to betas, we can go in here. Now I have to do another one of these, copy, paste, doop. All right, betas. So again, they've got botanicals and the botanical pack that's helpful. I've worked with them in the past. I want to make a video. I've got my big deep dives into working with the catappa leaves and working with jackfruit and guava fruit. Well, I want to cover some of the casuarina pods and some of the other materials that are being used in the hobby by various breeders and quite frankly by Aquatic Arts. But they've got the kind of fancy kind, they've got the plakat kind, and then they've got more of a plain kind, and they range in price all the way down. Let's see, I think they're like 15, yeah, $10. They go all the way from 10 to 72, depending on like how elaborate you want and what gender and what's in stock. But anyways, what I wanted to show you guys is, do they have their sale section still that I can show you all? Maybe not. So what I will do is I'll just show you the fish. Hopefully it'll load in a sec here. But I just wanted to point out, they have quite an interesting selection of fish in-house that are now bred in the United States by dedicated hobbyists. And to me, that's worth so much. And look at that. We got a rosy loach right there behind everything. And, the last few videos I posted, we've covered rosy loaches. So I was stoked that they had those in. But look at these Lamia tridents. These are a great little live bear. They've also got red widow frontosas. Now, this looks like it's some tiny, cute little baddest. No, this is going to be a massive, intense fish. It's $100, but something to consider. They had a whole group of those. Well, they also have all these little live bears, from these beautiful little Japan, the Japan blue gold swords, yada yada. You can scroll through all this. Well, they're also now selling some of these very, very unusual rainbow fish, which is great. And when you see a price, you may think $58. That's insane. I wouldn't pay that. Well, then look, and sometimes it's 3 fish, sometimes it's 6 fish, sometimes, it really is. You got to click it and see what size the pack is and all that. Because on some of them, it may even be like 9 fish, Also, some new rice fish in. And then, as I said, they're doing all the guppies and live bears that they can help in house. And new research just came out about guppies, and I'll do a full video on it, I believe, because it's continuation of stuff that has always been fascinating to me. Also, by the way, guys, $47 for discus, and they've had some really nice. They're not, grade A necessarily. They're kind of the next step in, like grade B, but some of them will color up really well. You can see there's just a little bit of modeling that's off, like silver or whatnot. Some of them are pretty much fully spot on, but they may have a small, for instance, caudal or tail fin, they may have something undesirable, like the fact that this one has some white by its gill, and it's like, oh, it's not tiger striped enough, but these are making some really inexpensive fish that are of a decent size, and you can get your hands on them. Also, they're angelfish. What I wanted to mention is they're only $6.29 as is. And so then you get the code Fishtory, 15, Fishtory 15. You get 15% off that. It's bonkers. You guys can get some crazy good deals here. Also got the electric blue Jack Dempsey's. They've got the peacock gudgeons. But where are the fish I was trying to show you guys? The whole point of this exercise. Oh, yeah, $8.99 for these Scalara angelfish. These ones are locally bred also, which absolutely, I want to support this. I love this. I'm finding it harder and harder to get, locally bred anything or U.S. bred anything in this globalized world, and in this world where everything is so just freaking expensive, and shipping and all that, complicates things. So what I wanted to show you guys, other than all of this, they've got some cool tetras. But here's another great example. Like I said, these were 36. Now they're $30, $30.99. They're 16% off. These red, I need some of these. I need to buy some of these like ASAP. They're in stock, ready to ship. That's a 3-pack. So they're basically $10 a piece. But then you get 15% off when you use my code, because that's how special we are with Aquatic Arts, because it's 8 years of a friendship that we have struck up here. So definitely show them some love. Here we go. Here's what I was talking about. So we've got this 3-spot torpedo cichlid, the Exochromis, this thing here, only $25 for this beautiful, fish from Lake Malawi. This one, though, look at this. It used to be $79.99. This is a very rare fish that somebody came in and they brought in, and they're like, hey, I want to, bring this Cares species in. Well, now it's only $29.99. They're really trying to move some of these. So get on it. If you love these rare species, if you want to breed something that is literally like not in the hobby, like these are kind of one-offs that people bring out, and then maybe 2 or 3 people in the American Cichlid Association and 1 or 2 in Europe might be breeding them. Well, that's these fish right here, $19.99. Whatever the green price is, you still get 15% off on top of that. So, act now. Supplies are running low. No, yeah. But again, more, this one here is the Madagascar cichlid. This one is probably going to be extinct in the wild in the next year or 2, if not already there. And guys, I know I've abandoned chat for the moment. I will come back and I will love you all up to pieces in a minute. Also, look at it. They've got the striped. These are the chythids from the northern range. They have the lines like a zebra danio, but then they have like mazes mid-line. Kind of cool. The that were first identified, the holotype or the original, they have a maze pattern all over their body, but it kind of has a linear like lines down the side. Whereas these ones, yeah, no, not so much. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Yes, can you see what I see? So here we go. The red spot bristlenose pleco. Again, some unusual, interesting new fish. That one almost looks like I'd be scared. It looks like a danger noodle to me. Like, I know those are just onodontos. They're probably soft and squishy and adorable as long as you don't touch its pectoral fins. Or its top dorsal fin. Also, Imperial Lapis, that's the only one here that I'm seeing, and like 75 for 3. That's pretty pricey. I love these fish, but you can go to, for this fish in particular, I'm going to be just 100 with you. You can go to Moonlight Aquatics and I think get these for $8.99 or $11.99. And I had 18 of them or 16 of them. They look phenomenal in the community tank. They hide a lot now since my guppies have become more prolific. But I'll worry about that later. Also, these Mazul red cherry tetras. These are the ones that have the true color gradient. They're not just blood red, which some are. Some people want that, but these ones aren't. Also, they got the Nanacar, which is great. I'm not going to go over all their fish right now, but I just wanted to show you guys that they do have a pretty cool selection. And they've been staying on the ball with, like, you know, Waddy, Blueberry, Tetras with the Neon Sunset Platies, only $6.99, looking good. With the Rainbow Shiners, I believe that's a 3-pack for $37. So then you'd get another 15% off that. Also, the Elegant Pencil Fish. This is another one that I'd love to get my hands on. The Rosy Barb, looking good. It's got 12% off, so you get all that with those prices. Also, more rice fish, more rare rainbow fish, and smaller to mid-size rainbow fish. Also, look at these beautiful Apissos. Really cool. Plus, they've got the blue Miyuki rice fish. They've got the gold angels. Just, I don't know. I'm so excited by some of these. Like these rice fish, I wish I had been doing them over winter. It's just, you guys know I had all these health and other crazy things. So I'm only now getting to a place where I'm like stable again and trying to figure out what to get back in stock and what to start breeding or keeping and what's over my head versus what's good. But I wanted to show you this too. These Hamburg Platies, some of these go for literally $200-$300 that Dan's Fish was bringing in. And I'm sure these are probably the Coles or a different line than that exact line that was going for that. But just to show you, they're only $9.99, which is a great deal there. Also, these Gertrude RO2s from Gary Lang, 15% off already. And then on top of that, you're getting them for less than $10 a piece. Plus, you get 15% off on top. Okay, so you guys get the picture. There's some pretty cool deals here, and I encourage you to look through. I mean, they've got the Golden Wonder Achilles. They've got also the Corydorus Hastatus, which I love them. Denison Barbs, Burmese Marble Catfish. So many cool little things. Scissortail Rasboras, these Golden Dwarf Barbs, Pethia Gellus. These are actually probably Pethia Oronticus, but they're mislabeled everywhere in the hobby, and I love them. They're a great community fish. Again, Strawberry Bararas, what is this? 3 of them? Yeah, 3 of them. So for basically $13, so you're getting it like what, $4.50 or something, and then you get your discounts. It's $3 or $4 a fish. Lots of cool little barbs in here too that they have that nobody else is really carrying. If you want to be the rare barb person or the longfin skirt tetra. So I just wanted to shout out like all the really incredible fish that Aquatic Arts has been hosting lately. Lots of gouramis, lots of little killifish, lots of little rainbow fish. They've got cichlids, angels, kois, live bears, tetras. They've got the rummy nose, Sabua resplendens, and right now a 3-pack for $17.99. These being so endangered in the wild, I mean, that is lovely, and they always have good quality. I mean, see that silver has a slight blue to it, just a little bit of black smokiness on the top of the fin. Even when stressed, like the fact that you get those orange dots on the tail, really good sign of the health, the quality of the line. And they've got all these Corys. They've got American flagfish. So we're not going to go through all of them, but there's so much stuff on there right now that I just wanted to, I needed to shout it out. They also have like a ton of plants also, which is lovely. I mean, look at like their crypt selection right now. It's great. Plus, some of these, like I said, Crypt Spiralis, right now it's only $5.99. You guys get 15% off on top of that already because of the code. So like load on up, and I know that the shipping's a little expensive, but you can have yourself quite the deal, especially if you get a friend in on it and you guys kind of split the difference. Also, the Nearite Snails. I mean, look at this, $2.99 for these Sunthorn Nearites. I love these. I need to order more of these. Same with this assorted pack. I love this assorted pack. I get them when they're chipped and bruised and whatever, and they'll grow back in. They have this beautiful turquoise. Also, these pink lady ones are incredible. I love how these look. They're so delicate for a nano tank. I mean, I don't know. I could go on and on and on about all the snails that they have at Aquatic Arts. You know, right now they've got like olive snails. I'm not a big fan of the mystery snails and stuff, but also they've got these breeder combo packs where you get food for a year, and then you get the you know, the snail itself and a breeding group, and then you get, you know, a stick, you get botanicals, you get 5 or 6 different dried plants that have different you know, niche uses. And then if we go over to springtails and isopods, they've been working on that. Right now, everything's kind of sold out. I think they're gearing up for fall again. But, you know, they're working on getting in. And they have these in the house, in-house. They're breeding them. It's just a matter of keeping up. Y'all crazy animal lovers are eating them all up. You're buying them all up. And then the last thing I'll show you is the actually, I lied. I'm going to show you also the crabs. So the crabs are pretty cool. They've got the little pom-pom crabs, great deal. They've got their Amano shrimp. They got the mini lobsters, which are always a big star. They've got their incredible Procambrius crayfish, and you know, they've even got all the lovely everything from Neocaridina shrimp that are very high grade, like the best blue that's going around these days is still going for around $10. But you got your pass, guys, all the way to, like, look at this. This is a beautiful, you know, tangerine crayfish. You can see the juveniles are a little less insanely colored, and then they get darker and darker. Very, very neat stuff. Also, then the crabs, look at this. You've got totally aquatic crabs and semi-aquatic crabs. They've got these Amano shrimp. Both, I think these ones are incredible, these $8.99 ones. Mine is now going on 2 years, and it's still beautifully yellow. The red ones are still red. The foggy ones are still foggy. Just, they're up to cool projects over there. Same with their Thunderbolt crayfish. So anyways, well, I'm done gushing over that, but I wanted to shout out some of what I've seen going on there right now, because we're kind of transitioning from like winter into this, or not winter, from summer into winter and into indoor tanks and all of that stuff. And I think some of this should be a fun experience. And for me, I'm going to kind of try to switch gears. Yeah, it's a 10. Sorry, Mr. Sardine. It is a 10-minute ad, but it's really because I love these species. And if you're in the UK or whatever, you may not be able to get them, but you can get these species still through places like Runimans or places like Maidenhead Aquatics, or obviously Aquarium Gloss, or all those places will gladly handle your business. They'll be part of your business. So, do they dye the shrimp? No, they're actually selectively bred, which is really cool. They're selectively bred Amanos. They stay that way. They molt that way. Their molt is actually has the color 2 part of it, which is interesting. You know, I was curious about that too. But yeah. Let's see here. Joseph Ariando, good to see you, man. Right on. Oh, right on. New 55. Gosh, I love that. Very cool. The price of fish has gone up for sure since I was a kid. Yes, Amy, it has. The price of everything has gone up, and the last few months, everything has gone up. It's going to keep going up, unfortunately, for a little while at least. We haven't, so a lot of the tariffs and things that were coming down the pipeline that were going to be an issue that I did videos on, and all the way back in like February, I got a lot of flack for, and I didn't mean that to be anything pro, against, whatever. I just wanted to talk about theoretically from a consumer standpoint, what does that look like? What should we be prepared for? Is there anything we could stock up on if you are so inclined and have the money now and, you know, you see a good sale going? And it's shaken out almost identical to what I was thinking, but it hasn't yet landed. So people had a much larger capacity after lockdown. They had a much more robust capacity, which is really interesting how the lockdowns, shutdowns, the COVID stuff really caused supply lines and things to know how to stock up for 6 months to a year on non-perishable goods. So there were people just ordering just container ship after container ship. And that did push shipping prices up very high at the beginning. And now they've come down. And also over the summer, some of the fuel prices and things came down for a lot of areas. And so that made for what looks like, an easing of all that. But also what's happening now is the goods being ordered right now as we speak are finally running into some of the true tariff costs that are going to be in the way, so to speak, of that total price. And you're going to see that impact in the price of a fish, or in hardscape and into hard I want to say hardware. I guess that hardware. Hey, Alex. Oh, you already got that one. Hey, Alex, Battis in a heated aquarium. Are they cold water fish too, by the way? So Battis, there are Battis that live all the way through the Malay Peninsula into Indonesia, down into the heart of the tropics, right on the equator, basically. There are also some that live all the way in the Ghats Mountains, the Western Ghats Mountains in India, all the way up into the foothills of Nepal and Irrawaddy, Purdue Pradesh, up to the Irrawaddy, AWRE, Irrawaddy. There's the Irrawaddy and the Irrawaddy. But anyways, those get glacially fed. It's kind of wild. Yeah, we'll look at isopods. Let's go on a little tour here. Asha, good to see you. Love to see you here. I appreciate everybody who can make it here. And I have a sin I must confess. And that is that I spent $200 promoting my Rosy Loach video on Myanmar and the nano fish situation in Myanmar and the impact. Now, when I did that, what's interesting is that the pattern I haven't seen in over a year and a half returned of it actually informing my dang subscribers. And so if I could get that level of YouTube letting my subscribers see that video is out there when I drop a video, it lets me know that there's still some of you out there that are like, I had no idea that you were even making content. I was getting comments like, I thought you stopped several years ago. And that was crushing to me, because I know a lot of people that I've missed the heck out of them. I wanted, I wish we'd been here the whole time, especially in a hobby where people fall in and out of how hardcore they're into it. Right. So anyways, a lot. Yes, I agree. A lot of my favorite nano fish are also going to be based out of Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and all of that. It was 91 degrees today in Seattle. Is that not bonkers? Also, Joseph says, and hello, Denise Sanders, what's up? So when can I get my hands on some of your isopods? I know everybody's been asking. I am so sorry about how slow I've been. Guys, it's been rough just because I was waiting to get breather bags, and then I never something fell through where I just didn't order the thing right. I didn't order the actual breather bags. I ordered whatever the heck these are. I didn't get the right ones, and I got big ones for like fish, not for isopods. And so then I also didn't have a smaller container. And then I was in the cast and I couldn't get to the thing. They're just excuse after excuse. I mean, basically you can say, Alex, you're a big doo-doo face. But the isopods, they're out in my tubs. They're there. They're captive. They're a captive audience. They will be there. And they're also in my tank right now. So let's go take a look at a couple tanks. We may have to turn some lights on and things because, you know, a lot of them I've had the light off, and I probably won't go hang out in the fish room. But I do want to show you a couple things going on with the plants and just kind of chill vibes, you know, while we chat and while we doing stuff. And I want to show you what the isopods have done. So I do need to make a video on showing you guys like scuds in a tank, shrimp in a tank, isopods in a tank. Isopods they strip it down. I mean, they strip down your tank. If you put them in there and there's no other food and the plants and everything have died and then the plants start breaking down, isopods will eat fungi and they will eat bacteria. They won't eat the live plants and things. So they'll wait for the plants to die. But you better believe once that happens, they strip it down and they leave this fluffy layer, and it gets finer and finer as they digest it over and over. Then they shed their exoskeletons and then the other ones eat those. It's a bonkers process, but what used to look like a tangled web with kind of paramecium and floating bits, like you'll recall the like algae green water look of a lot of my tanks that I use for live food for baby fish. Well, the ones that I decided to put the isopods in, even with scuds, even with hydra, planaria, you name whatever you want that I put in them and tried, they are now just barren, like a moonscape. And even the duckweed and stuff that used to be like, I still actively put scoops and scoops of stuff in there from other ones, and it's just been wild how much they go through, and they clean so much even if we don't realize it. So what I want to show you before we go and look at the actual isopod, like this is the example of the isopods. I want to show you my main community tank in here, show you a couple things that are going on in there, what's going on with the plants. And as much as like I need it, I am like broke right now. So I need to sell, like, if not locally, to y'all. I'd rather sell to those of you who support me and stuff. So I need to sell plants. Obviously, I'll do it at a really good rate and everything, but it's just been a matter of like, I don't have a ride to the post office. I don't have the right bag. I'm tired today. I've got a doctor's appointment at 2, and I don't know if I can get to the post office, you know, by taking the bus and then this, and it's just become very difficult. Things that were once super easy become very difficult once, like, you're in a cast, or once you can't walk on your foot and you have a wheelchair and you're waiting on like public transit. Like, I had no idea how difficult certain things would be. And usually I just hop in the truck and it's no big deal. It's like bing, bada, boom. But anyways, I do want to tell you guys that I am so grateful for this community, for, you know, having y'all around. The fact that you guys come and hang out when a live stream's going down. You know, I do plan on, we got to get some giveaways going on. I miss doing that. We got to get some more excitement back into the channel. And, you know, I am supposed to go speak to St. Louis. So hopefully when I get this cast put on tomorrow, it settles in all good. And then I'll know that I'm good to go to St. Louis, as long as, you know, no infection or anything. I'm super jazzed about everything that's going on right now. And even like today's video about AI, it started because I read an article saying that people were using AI as a search engine. So whereas a year ago people were saying, okay, AI, find me this Latin named fish and find me all the scientific papers that mention this fish out of Germany in the last 3 years, right? That's a good task where it can then kind of team up with the search engine. It can look up it. Then you can say, comb through the documents and synthesize what it is that each research paper is about in a one paragraph. Okay, that's all great stuff for AI, Chat GPT, whatever to do. But what people are using it for now is, show me a picture of this fish. And a lot of times it's not going to get a photorealistic picture. It's not saved to its memory bank. It's going to try to create it based off the descriptions it finds online or based off similarly tagged things. And you get this kind of like more real than real looking image like you saw with the forktail loach videos and stuff that I had. Let me see if I can actually put that up right now to show you. It's very it's very interesting, like where it's like, that's such good. I mean, it looks so clear and so polished and so precise that you're like, oh yeah, that's totally correct. But it's not. It's too good. And you get that feel like here in this library picture, right? Like obviously it's just like a patchwork of what it thinks a library should look like. And I gave it, I defined it, but none of these books actually look like a book when you really, really look at it. They're just kind of the filler that we would assume in our mind is there. Like, what is this? Is this a coral reef? Is this a topiary? Is this a bush? Is this a statue? Is it a chia pet? I don't know, but there's some little thing. Oh wait, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? You're probably not. I'm probably completely insane, and you're like, what is he talking about? Oh no, okay, you guys can see it. But yeah, like in the background there, what is that? Kind of odd business. Stop that. All right, then we open this. And then we're gonna go back into here. We're gonna go back into we're gonna go into here. Then we're gonna go into here. And then we'll go into here. Visual effects. Whereas like that's a real picture right there. Like boom, that's someone's house, right? Boom, that's a fisheye lens of something real. And that's a real picture. To me, it's just interesting how we're getting trained where you kind of know, but you don't always. Like this is a real picture, and that's why I left the real picture. What I want to do though is get the video so that I can load a live video with the green screen here showing the fish tank while we talk. It's been buffering and real bad quality in the glitchiness. But let's see here. Carson, what's going on? Good to see you. Okay, all right. Let me pop over. And if you got one, just take a sip of your favorite beverage. Have a little snacky snack. Have your little snack poo. Treat yourself. And enjoy that. Andrew Sharon, good to see you, my dude. I'm glad you're here. Need to get back out towards that middle of the country. Get out there and get out to that Milwaukee and that everything from Minnesota to Lake Minnetonka, to Chicago, to Toledo, Columbus, all that stuff. Man, I'm like craving getting out. Yes, AI, count the fingers and the toes for sure. That is That's a rough one that AI can't seem to deliver on. And it's kind of funny the things that it does mess up on. But same with Latin names. Like, that was my point, is, so you may not think it's a big deal because who uses Latin names? Like, so what if it gets Latin name wrong for a rosy loach? Well, it's actually a big deal because now we have renamed another loach the old name of the rosy loach, and it's even in a whole new genus. And so now there are 4 old names floating around, and depending on what you look at, ChatGPT is totally fine with the cognitive dissonance of having 2 completely opposite things and stating that they're true. So it'll say this is its name and then / this is its name, when neither have been its name for 3 or 4 years now. And when you do go look and find the new name that was assigned, that's in a whole new group of fish that are one's in Nepal and one's in Syria, when this fish we're talking about is 3,000 to 4,000 miles away in the tropics, not up in the mountains. It's not. So anyways, it can be very important, even if it seems like a nerdy, nitpicky thing. It's then going to use whatever that was the Latin name to index more searching that it does, because people are wanting their AI not to be a database of information and like some sort of logical method. Like, so AI should be a logic or a method for sorting through data, saying like, show me all the fish species in scientific papers that are mentioned in this lake. Then tell me which ones are endemic. And then if there's a spreadsheet, for instance, export the spreadsheet into Outlook and, make me a spreadsheet by, mass or by biomass of how much the average fish weighs plus how many individuals were found, and then put that into column or row, whatever. And so it's wonderful for doing work like that normally would have taken forever. Where people want it to be, though, is like, tell me about the rosy loach and taking care of it. And it's like, boom, what fish are you even talking about right off the bat? And if you don't know that, and who would with all the fish in the world, like, unless you've already done your research, it's just not for that. It's not for pictures of, show me a picture of this fish, do this or that. Now, they've filled this in with Google, with, Apple, with all these different Samsung and these places that call themselves AI. And they're saying that it's generative AI and that it's search engine and internet searching, and that it's kind of doing the best of both worlds. But in the last 9 months alone, this is what sparked that video that I posted last night or this morning, however you want to look at it, of me on the phone showing you guys how badly AI can lead us astray when we're trying to find good information. You still need to know where the source material was. Like, is that accurate? It was using material for a video because it was the most popular. It assumed that was the best source on information that it didn't have an authoritative academic source on. So it was actually using someone who I love, Rachel O'Leary's video, but it's from 2016, which is 4 names ago in the rosy loach life. And that's when there were hybridized species of the rosy loach mixed in the hobby. That's when there were 3 other species of Physoschistura that were all being called the rosy loach. So it shows you really quickly how things can derail. So you got info from 2016, you got info from 2023, 2024, 2004, and then all the way back to like 1988 under Coletti, when they first discover the basin above it up in it doesn't matter, but anyways, in Karen State in Myanmar. So it can get you into a lot of trouble. You have to be the expert, and you have to know an expert who can say, that's wrong. Like the AI is on the right track. It's trying to, but it used the wrong word here. You know, it's just like if you have a math equation and it's using, you say, what's 3 plus 4? And when it comes up on the screen, it says, what's 3 plus 8? And you're like, I didn't say 8, I said 4. Well, it's like we think it's 8 because online more people said 8 for that response of whatever we're trusting. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, let's hop over and take a look, change up some scenery. I hear it from you guys. But before we do that, I need to change up my mind also a little bit. I need to change up my mood and, you know, actually what I have in my head, I can't pull off, but I'm thinking of Al Green. Let's wanna stay together, loving you whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Come on. Anyways, no, instead, let's do a silly time. Let's wake up a little bit here before we go look at the fish and the isopods and what the isopod man have cometh and done. And as a little thank you to you guys, or maybe as some punishment to those of you who are falling asleep tonight. Is this thing on? Glee. Well, I hear tell you're doing well, good things will come to you. I wish I had your happiness and you had a do, I could 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 do. They tell me you're running free, your days are never blue. I wish I had your good luck charm and you'd have a do, I could 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 do. Yeah, you're going down the street in the big Cadillac. You got girls in the front, you got girls in your back. Yeah, way in the back, you got money in your sack. Both hands on the wheel and your shoulders are raised right on back. Well, root toot toot doot 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 doo. I hear tell you're doing well. Good things will come to you. I wish I had your happiness and you'd have a do, I could do, I could do, I could do, I do, I do, I do, I do. Okay, so that song, as goofy as it is, was a #2 hit in 1963. Anyways, that is Roger Miller's cover. But let's pull up here. Can't get no imagination. He also does, you know, King of the Road. Trailers for sale or rent. Room to rent 50 cents. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. I love every engine on every train. All of the children and all of the names. All right, let's mute this. Why am I not popping up here? What is going on? Enter studio. Doop doop doobio. Ooh 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 yo. Here we go. All right, so tell me if there's an echo. Tell me if there's anybody out there. Boop 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 boop. Okay. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hear me now. Can you hear me now? Hear me now. Hear me now. Ooh, they've changed things. I might sauce me a like on this one. Let's see here. Let's see if we can let me make sure that we don't get any foggies on the froggies on the lensy wensies. All right, there we go. Okay, let's see if I can still see your comments. So here, yeah, here's the tank that y'all were, or that folks were mentioning. You know, I want to get some of the True Aeneas, or Equus rather, pencilfish. But here we've got the others. We've got the one line, and then we've got here, you know, we've got all the Kabamba furcata that I've been trying to grow out. I've also been trying to grow out this Hygrophila Rosenvig here. It's kind of funky. I'm not running CO2 on this tank though at the moment. And also my Logonandra, it's doing well. It was having some nutrient issues. Also, these stupid snails, they mean to do well. They mean to just eat this bits of algae here, but they then sometimes they go too far. They go too far and they cause problems. Also, I got some willow hygro in here. Hygrophila willow, long leaf, broad and, or wait, no, long and narrow. That's what this one was called. Just added this stem in, just kind of letting it just see what happens. But also then we got the Logonandras doing their thing. I always like to show you these because they're my favorite plant in the hobby, and they don't get enough love, I should say. But you can see this is the watermelon one where it goes all the way to green and kind of a yellowy green, all the way to a pink and a like a deep red, and like a Busa Palandra would. And then up here we've got the other kind, which is the pink, sometimes called red, which got more like red veins on it. And then all the way over here, we've got the Carolensis. Again, though, you can see, look, the tops get chewed off. Whatever comes all the way to the top makes it to the top. Then it tends to get chortled off by the silly little snails and things. Same with this beautiful crypt that I've got going on here. That just, I mean, look at those colors. Woo! Woo! Look at that with then the big green on top. But also Ludwigia Pantanal, also my crosses of we've got all these which were Salzmani Bacopa crossed with Bacopa colorata. Then we've got the normal Bacopas down here and Bacopa colorata. Anyways, so the thing that we were showing last time that a lot of people were interested in was also the fact that I am getting this algae. So I'm getting algae in the form of Claudophora, which is one of the most difficult algae to deal with. A real pain in the butt. But in this tank that's going on over 10 years, look what happens. It happens very low down. Every algae has its zone. And this is all isopod work right here. You can see there's snails too. You can see that I've got shrimp in here also doing their piece. And there are fish from plecos and so forth on up, different sizes. But you can see like the mulm that builds up as it falls down. I try to get rid of mulm like this that's big enough that it's sitting as chunks of just breaking down material. That's only going to lead to organic debris and breakdown. Now, this tank can handle it because of how robust it is and because it's over 10 years old now of substrate and all that. But, ideally, you get rid of some of that, let the under carriage here of growth breathe a bit, and you'll get different kinds of algae. And like I was saying, we've got like an interesting algae that is growing on the underside here. It's like a hair algae. Then we've got, of course, the diatomaceous powdered algae, little bits and tufts here. And then, you come all the way over here. We got a full-on black beard algae on this little power head. Look at this. I mean, it's not just a little, it's a lot of blackbeard algae. yet it hasn't taken over the tank. And why hasn't it taken over the tank? Well, the plants are happy. The plants are utilizing whatever it is that that algae could use to get ahead and sneak into the space. The plants are already one-upping it. And all these plants are trying to survive and thrive so heavily. I mean, we've got like these, you know, that are trying to be vines and that are popping up everywhere. And some of them are even going to flower. And then we've got Bacopa popping up everywhere. We got Ludwigia species and Rotala species popping up everywhere, going to flower. More flower, more flower. We've got the Anubias that I hybridized with the ginormous bunny ears that are unique to this hybrid. And we got new leaves coming up here. This is the Fraseri. This is the mother or father, whatever you want to call it. The it could be both plant. And then here's a fresh leaf coming up. But again, this is the Fraseri Anubias, and then the Barderi. Its leaves have a much more rigid and like when I say rigid, I mean here's another. This is probably the biggest leaf from it. Oh no, here's the biggest leaf from it. You can see, look at these lumps. They're like, it's very textured. Whereas the Fraseri, it has striations, but they're not raised. They're just flat. And same with here. They're pretty much flat to the touch. Here they pop up a little bit, but in the hybrid, boom, they're raised, they're ribbed, and they've got these crazy bunny ears. Like I said, crazy bunny ears. But the isopods, going back down here, you can see there's shrimp that are sorting through some stuff. I got some Bloody Mary shrimp in here. There's not a lot. I think I put 20 in here, and I don't know how many are still in here. It's really hard to know in a 60-gallon that goes, you know, this deep all the way back. And up here, we've got like a floating mat of life, but yet all these little tetras and pencil fish and little tiny critters. Look at this root ball up here too. I mean, they're all, and snails and shrimp, they're all having a party, having a ball up in there. And then below that, there's actually a little bit of rock and structure, but the fish can actually swim all the way under here. If you didn't know that, everyone always says, oh, your fish have no room to swim. Actually, they can swim around the entire tank. An angelfish or a gourami sized fish can make it all the way around. In fact, there is the betta. If you can, let's see if we can make out the betta. I want to show you the betta. The betta is, I can't, you see a little bit of blue, right? Where is it? Right there, right there. That little sliver of blue. That is Bob the betta doing his thing. Anyways, I do need to cut back a bunch more in here. And, you know, right now it's kind of a collectoritis tank. It does what it does. The filter, you know, is sucking stuff up, but it's not, you know, it's not, I'm not asking a lot of it. It's pretty much impacted. Here you can see, you know, this light, fluffy mulm. Also, you can see that my Ancestris are in here. There's 2 of them. I'm going to get a couple more, hopefully. But this mulm that they're creating, they create a lot right where I feed, and it falls right to the bottom, and it sits in here. And then I have to cut this, or algae will build up where the, you know, all the layers of biologically active stuff are. Because, see, they'll clean this off really well. You can see their little cinnamon swirl belly. And again, the guppies, that's a whole other story where we can get into all the traits, but there's brand new research out, new studies that I'm excited to dig through. I was reading them today. Lately, I feel like I can't even keep up with all the things I want to talk about. I need a co-host and an editor. Those are the things I need to, like, you know, be able to handle everything we're talking about. But yeah, these are all, you know, 6 generations now from the same line. And basically that's F2 right there. I don't think there's any, no, there's no F1 metallic cobra guppy left. But there is a blonde, yes, there is a blonde female still left, or two or three of them. which that's cool, right? Anyways, so then we hop over here, and this is another tank where, like, I've been keeping up with it immersed. This one has isopods in it as well. And this is all in its, this all has the aqua cell, but you can see here, because I have Malaysian trumpet snails in the substrate, they put that layer of mulm, even though it's very neat and tidy, they put that right there. And there's light hitting it here, but right here would be my guess is where the oxygen starts to get hard to access. And what you see going on in here is you can see, yeah, there's snails, there's all these shrimp, so many shrimp in here, all these Malawa shrimp that are breaking down every little thing that's in here that is, trying to, any carbon-based thing that's in here is getting broken down by all these little Malawa shrimp, and they've been very successful in breeding in these dense areas. Like here's that Amano from Aquatic Arts, that white snowball, 2 years old already. Look at that beauty still snow white. The yellow one's still around here too, and one of the red ones or orange ones is still in here too. But this thick valve here that you can see really provides a shrimp nursery. And I haven't used, I've got these fertilizers and things sitting here, but I haven't used anything other than a bit of potassium. But the potassium tends to flare up my algae, so I don't even do that. And again, here's a tank. We know this one's newer. For a while, you guys saw the algae problems it was having, but now you can see no real algae problems. The new problem is just we have too much organic matter, so I need to be more active with trimming and getting all this organic carbon-based stuff out of here. This duckweed that layers and then dries out and then rots. See how this is all kind of like just getting pinholes in it, and it's just like the duckweed there. It has enough light, but the roots are very tiny, so it doesn't even need to reach. It's getting all the nourishment it needs. But I've got all these little mini rotalas that are really beautiful, bright reds and stuff. And this stuff, if I curated it better, I've got a whole basic garden right here of all, my favorite rotalas that now are all tangled up. And then a bunch of this valve that could really get cut, but it's such a task to untangle all of this and to get like this hydrocotyle and this one that I'm spacing on, the limnophila. This stuff though, look how cool it looks up here where the plant has come out. And also you can see I've let the filter. People a lot of times they don't want to see this. They think it's gross. They think it's lazy. But this is how you got snails up here working on this. You've got a decent flow, just trickling. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it'll fill a shot glass in a few seconds. And I do need to get all this duckweed and debris out of here because, again, it's carbon that is basically just melting, and that will break down and eventually cause algae or cause a cyanobacteria outbreak or something if you don't have enough critters eating it or plants converting it. And also now that we got over the awkward algae phase, now we've got the phase where we've got like 3 or 4 types of algae, including this really kind of cool, very hard. It's not marimo, but it's like a very hard, fluffy algae. That sounds weird. It's hard to the touch. Feels like felt. It's kind of like the marimo mothballs, like I said. Also, you can see another Amano shrimp right in here doing its thing on a bunch of different types of algae, including blackbeard algae. All of this, again, is that jungle-style tank. I experimented by actually just killing a bunch of the... there were way too many Malaysian trumpet snails in here eating on all this waste, right? And the fish don't have enough room to swim for most viewers' taste. Now, I'm not worried about that, honestly. I will change it because I don't want to hear it from viewers who are worried, and it's no skin off my back to change it. But honestly, this crazy thickness, that is how fish breed. This is how you end up with babies surviving with hungry adult mouths. The big problem too, when you get to this density of plants and everything in a jungle tank, welcome to the jungle, you end up with the temperature being screwed up. So it's very warm over here where the heater is, 78 or so, and over here it's probably like 69 or 70. Yet the fish, in theory, I mean, they can swim wherever they want, so they can get used to different temperatures and they can move around. But I do need to go through and just like cut out all of this very carefully. And like the trouble is, what I'm gonna need to do is take all these rare plants like this small pearl, Rotala pearl, the Rotala mini butterfly, you know, all these kinds of interesting ones that are in here. This Boost mini, the Homlomena mini, Limnophila, and over here too, like even just starting new cuts of like the Carolensis versus the Homlomena versus the Logonandra plants and the Barclay longifolia plants. I just need to kind of get things going. I could probably break apart, literally, I can pull up right here and that connects to here. And then there's another piece. So all of this in a 60-gallon amphitheater spread is all the same plant. Over here too, we're getting to the point where the Bulbitis hedulata connects up all under here, all under here, all over into here, all to here. And the val has grown on the ground all the way around. This didn't start in front. This went all the way around. And when you pull it up, it unroots everything. And this is actually rock that now has moss that keeps it moist over it. And you can see just kind of the beautiful colors and the plants and the layering, and even some of the floating plants have been pushed up and out. I do really love this look. And here you can see like we've got a little fiddlehead of the, plant going on. We've got little aphids and little springtails and all sorts of stuff going on here. But it changes with the water level, and then it becomes delicate, and then these pieces break off. And then it's like, is it really any use if I can't pass it on to anybody? And if it's busted up, because like this plant, obviously beautiful, the purple aflame sword plant, when this thing is at its peak, holy cow, is it a gorgeous, plant with these purples and just, I mean, look at that. Absolutely lovely. Same with this, which who knows when it gets its official name and everything, but I've really loved this plant. I've loved playing with it. I've loved abusing it. And then over here's this Hygrophila Rosevig version that's from the other tank. Look at these reds and colors. They're not coming from the center of the crown. They come from the edge of the leaves. Very interesting, very different. You see it over here again, like this deep red coming from, once in a while it'll be from the center, but usually it's from the edge of the leaves and the veins are green. Love that. So I do need to cut this, and I do want this to get passed on. So like all y'all members and things that are asking me about it, it's just also, then there's the whole, I can't promise there's not a snail egg, or I can't promise there's not an isopod. And that's a bit unprofessional, to be very frank about all of that. So I feel a bit like that's unfortunate to you guys that I can't ensure those things. So let's hop into the fish room. I'm sure it's probably like 90 some degrees in here, so we'll just have to use a flashlight real quick. I'm not turning everything on in here, but I did want to mention my algae experiment. I'm pushing it to the limit. These guys, I am now fully dedicated to see how much algae they can take, if they'll eat all the algae. I'm still feeding them their supplements that they need. But hold on, let's turn this around. Boy, I look crazy right now. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Let's get this. Turn it around. Turn it around. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. So here you can see normally this is kind of what you saw in these tanks, where you saw like, oh, there's some sticks, there's some leaves, there's some scuds, there's, I don't know, some floating plants, and maybe like a leftover castle or a seed pod or whatever. Well, I decided to put the isopods in here, and this is the newest isopod tank. And when you look at it with this, you can actually see they have all these burrows like an ant farm where they've been hiding, and they hide in there. And the scuds, actually, the Gomeris, they hide right in the top fluffiest layer, whereas the isopods are down deeper in the daytime. The little pill bug looking guys, they're down deeper. Now, here is a tank that doesn't have many and just has the isopods or no isopods, just has the Gomeris, and just has, like you can see here, a planaria and hydra and detritus worms. Also, it does have some shrimp in it, some of the Malawa shrimp. Over here, we've got, this is the biggest experiment, and this, biggest tank, I should say. It's the oldest, and it's got the most variety. But you can see cyanobacteria, and I thought, what in the heck is going on? Look at this crazy, like, pink cyanobacteria that glows under the UV. I was like, what is happening in here? This is some insanity. I put a ton of isopods in here. Well, it turns out that these isopods are farming all the way down into these layers. They're eating the cyanobacteria, both kinds, the type that is flourishing without oxygen that turns red under UV, and they're eating the more like spirulina type blue-green. But up here is a Tupperware container that used to be full. I mean, this, if you guys ever saw this tank, I should pull up old video and old lives of these tanks. They were full of all the clippings and trash from these other tanks, and I couldn't, they couldn't keep up with it. They would just get destroyed. And here you can see there's still a lot of little life forms in here, and I still catch, there's a big old detritus worm, all this kind of stuff I'm still catching with my turkey baster every night, and feeding to, for instance, like my rainbow fish and stuff like that. But the isopods have really created this whole subterranean, subterrestrial, whatever you want to call it, aquascape. It's fascinating. So the newest place that I've added them is down here with the lake inlay loaches and the Florida critters that are in a pretty good algae bloom, even though they're in the dark. I don't know why they've got that claudiphora algae that's all over Florida. It might be just that all the gut flora and fauna in Florida of those fish, when I got them in the mail, even though most of those fish didn't make it, like from that first week, the algae in here seems not to be harmful in the least. And so I've just left it, and I'm curious, like with plants and things, like how it'll do. So there's that. Also, my my other little experiment tank, they're kind of all experiment tanks, guys, because the community tanks and the aquascapes, I just don't have the energy. But here you can see more of the isopod tunnels and digging in a tank where they have been introduced. They haven't worked their way over to the iron-rich substrate yet, which I find interesting. So you don't see them over here yet. But you do see that they have cleared out every plant that I could basically, every plant in this stinking tank, they have cleared out. Even with the fish in here and the scuds in here and the shrimp in here, the scuds have really cleared out all the plants. And then the isopods, what they do is they eat every bit of the debris that's left over. They eat it as fungus and algae and cyanobacteria. See, that's a scud. Those are the locusts. That's what's literally tearing down every little bit of everything. So Also, this tank now has isopods in it, and there are no like scuds in any number in here or anything. And so I'm curious if with just isopods, another 10-year-old substrate here in my Rosy Loach tank. There's one of my new baby Rosy Loaches that hatched from last year, actually, even though I only had a few in there. We got one little boy that's pretty skinny. But anyways, so there's also a bunch of other Rosy Loaches in here and things. And they all hide with the hovering loaches. You guys saw them in the video. But in here, we're trying to see. I was curious if the Rosy Loaches would eat them since they're so big on eating and browsing through this kind of substrate food network. And then we've got all my betta tanks here with the beautiful Betta Hendra. I've got the lights off, obviously. And we've got my elastomas doing their elastoma-y things as they're growing out, and more elastoma. Rice fish from Minutia Rice Fish, and then Aquatic Arts, exclamation point, Rasboras. So really not a lot going on in here in the way of like new exciting projects, but I do have, if you look down, like this is a whole tank setup that and light that, remember, I was just about ready to set up here, and then it just turned into I'm not ready for taking on a new project responsibly and the all that's involved. And so I decided against it and kept my sorry guys, where did I go? I kept my my plan of more just focusing on the community tanks and then keeping alive, obviously, any of the fish that I have breeding colonies of in the back and plants that I have breeding colonies of. Boy, I look crazy after being in the 90-degree room with my hair all fuzzed out now. Look at that. That's like a 1980s. I'm like a 1980s hair model. All right, let me hop back on here real quick so we can look at chat and I can say what's up and see if there's anything I'm missing. Sure, I'm missing a lot. Poker face. Every tank is an experiment tank for all of us. I know it's really become true though, like when I know how a tank should look when it's set up the way I want it. I know how a filterless tank looks. I know how a filtered tank looks. But now that I've gotten into this weird gray area, I'm like, well, maybe I want to know how it looks when I go off the rails and allow algae and then introduce this one insect. It's not a strictly scientific method whatsoever. And so it's not extremely useful to academia. But to me, it does get my mind moving and cranking and thinking, okay, like, what does this teach me about whatever's going on? And what will this, maybe give me a eureka or an aha moment, But yeah, Empire of Dirt, Jeff Kane, good to see you, buddy. And Sketty Nona, always good to see you. So the next thing I'm thinking, Dagmar Haggerty, thank you so much. It's very kind of you to do a super sticker. Much appreciated, never expected, but, I'm sweating for you guys. I'm working it out. No, tonight I'm feeling very manic. I'm feeling very like, I don't know. Oh yeah, Asha, we're both fish punks. I know. I'm so excited about that too. I'll have to share my card. I wasn't sure like when I was allowed to or whatever on like the official site, but hopefully I can have like Kyle on and we can have a big old celebration. We can all get together for Halloween and do our fish punks cards. He made one of me like the second round of the cards and basically I was like, is that me? And he's like, yeah, kind of loosely, maybe you, maybe Lucas, maybe someone else, you know, like kind of a conglomeration. And so then like all of a sudden maybe a month or two ago, he goes, hey, I got something for you. He showed me that. And I was like, oh yes. All right. Dagmar, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. I take care. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So my cat is scratching the heck out of something. She got this little scratch pad with catnip in it, and she like it. She like it a lot. She liked the catnip a lot. Yeah. Susan P, hello. Fingerman, hello also. Okay. Well, guys, I think I'm going to get off the internets. I'm terminally online. I may make a new video today, Junior, tomorrow, in that they have this new research paper about why orange or red, or like, why is it that the orangish yellowy red spot on guppies is so prevalent. And there are 38 combinations of different patterns associated with the red dot or orange dot. And then there are another like 18 or something combinations of how that can go with the patterns that are there as well, other than it. Look, the cat has no ears. And so it's 39,000, I want to say, different combinations that can be made, all with that orange dot as the prominent marking, and using one large orange dot and one smaller sized orange dot. But it turns out that the orange dot pigment cells in a guppy, not only are they the stem cells for the immune system, but they are a stem cell for neurological brain tissue. So the brain tissue of the guppy that has to do with like calculating danger, calculating intelligent and risk assessment, and mating is all inherently linked to the carotenoids and the anthocyanins. No, not anthocyanins. The astaxanthin compounds and carotenoids and lycopene that are in there. So there's a link between the amount of brain cell material in a guppy and the risk taking factors in a guppy, and they're just now kind of trying to decode all of that. But they know now that the guppies with the orange spots will risk their life. They will go to twice as deadly of places where statistically they will get eaten by other big fish when in the wild in order to spawn. Kind of interesting. Yes, Scoop Dog. Unfortunately, the cat has a very, very, very poorly placed mustache. Little black spot on her face. But she's adorable from every angle but straight on, I promise. She does also have a perfectly parted hair at an angle like that German style hair of the time. It's very important. The wild ones that are virgins sell for thousands. The guppies, huh? Interesting. All right, guys. So I am going to skiddly daddle, but hopefully after I get my cast put on tomorrow, as long like they do have to re-break a bone. But to be fair, the bone's already fractured, so I'm hoping it just that means like set the bone. I do know they're going to twilight me, so that means they're going to give me Valium. So maybe I'll stream in one of the one-offs of the year when I get to actually have a substance in my system that I don't consider using. I consider that medically necessary if they're going to pop a bone into place and then put a cast on. But maybe I'll just lackadaisically wax poetic about fish while they pop my leg in. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Stream on volume. We'll see it. Maybe that'll be a members only thing. I don't know. We'll find. We'll figure it out. Something will happen. Even if that doesn't happen live, I'll try to get a clip of it for posterity. How's that? Joey, I'm sorry you're late. Andy, I'm sorry, you two, but I am calling it a night. I'm wrapping it up. I gotta, like I said, I gotta go in the morning for pre-op. Whatever they have to do. It's not really full op stuff, so I'm not worried about it. But I have to get there like 45 minutes earlier than the actual time, which is annoying. So it's like 6 a.m. and whatever. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for looking at my jungle tank with my jungle bank and my jungle kitty cat, who's just being a no-gooder. She's just, oh, wait, you can't see anything because I've got the, anyways, she's over there on the window, just licking her paws, sharpening her nails. My wife's over in the Outer Banks in Nag's Head, Kitty Hawk. I can't think of any other names of stuff that's over there, but she's right where the Wright brothers, where they were first in flight, even though Ohio, which is where she was born, them and over there on the Outer Banks, they argue like, we're first in flight. No, we're first in flight. Anyways, it's 3:22. You can't go now. All right, you guys. Much love to all of you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming and checking out my old content too. A lot of y'all must have missed stuff over the years, and I'm seeing folks I haven't seen in a long time, which is a good sign that even though I paid the $350 total, it was like 200 and then another 50. So I think it'll end up being 350 I'm putting towards channel engagement, which is just like flipping Google their money. Like, here's all your money right back. But I'm hoping it will, maybe like flash a little flicker of a memory of some of y'all are here because you're like, oh, I remember a time before the lockdowns 9 years ago, when I knew a man who went by the channel, The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. And I said, God damn, that's a long name. And he changed it to Fishtory about 3 years ago. Anyways, you guys, I hope I'll be back soon. If everything goes well, I will. If it doesn't, worst it's going to happen, probably like just won't have a foot or something. All right, you guys, I love you. I love your critters. You love your critters. Take care of your critters. Take care of yourself, or you can't take care of your critters and the people you love. And of course, if we all did all of those things, we'd all be taking care of each other. We'd all be taken care of, and the world would be a better place. Much love, you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. If not Friday, I'll be back sooner since I'm just home alone with a cast that makes it so I can't walk after tomorrow. All right, guys. Bye-bye.